I'd ask the Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter? No, I don't.
Or there's the March Hare in that direction.
Thank you. I think I shall visit him.
Of course, he's mad too.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. Most everyone's mad here. You may have noticed that I'm not all there myself. And the morals of
Goodness. If the people here are like that, I must try not to upset them.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. Obama is going to be out playing golf. He might even be on one of my courses. I would invite him. I actually would say, I have the best courses in the world, so I'd say, you know what, if he wants to, I have one right next to the White House. Right on the Potomac. If he'd like to play, that's fine. In fact, I'd love him to leave early and play. That would be a very good thing.
I'm hungry, but I'm good. And now, if you don't mind, I'm going to dial it right up to a 10.
Go right ahead.
We're doomed. We need a revolution. Millions of people on the streets. And we got to do something. And we got to do it now.
Hey, I'm not saying they're stupid. I like China. I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China. Am I supposed to dislike him? Our president doesn't have a clue. He's a bad negotiator. He's the one that did Bergdahl. We get a no-good trader, and they get the 5 people that they wanted for years, and those people are now back on the battlefield trying to kill us. Right?
Okay, and who else was at your home? Were you alone?
I was alone, yes.
The whole night?
Well, yes, the whole night.
Well, I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I'm sorry, a little note of levity at 7:15.
Well, I mean, the reason
Noted
I say
for the
it's not
record.
funny is because it went well into the night.
Not a fan of the banks. They trample on the middle class. They control Washington. And why do they chain all their pens to the desks? Who's trying to steal a pen from a bank?
Speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection.
This party does not prey on people's prejudices. We appeal to the highest ideals. This is the party of Lincoln. We believe all people are created equal in the eyes of God and our government. This is fundamental. And if someone wants to be our nominee, they must understand this. I hope this is the last time I need to speak out on this race.
Hi everyone, this is the Astrophone America live Irish broadcast of America-ness. So yeah, it's been ridiculous. It's been maddening. I shouldn't have dragged Safari over. Oopsies. It's crazy. I haven't seen a race like this since Mitt Romney tried to kill Big Bird. You know, that cold son of a... Beside the point. Mitt Romney tried to kill Big Bird. But yeah, this is a crazy race. This is ridiculousness incarnate. And I guess you could blame Trump, but some of these other candidates are out of their minds. So you're trying to think about, is this where America's come to? This is how insane it is? No. It's always been this freaking insane. It's just coming to a head. It's coming to a surface. So yeah. You just gotta love how crazy the times are getting. And some of you may be asking yourselves, what is the future of the country going to be like after this election? I mean, basically, nobody has been working together in the Congress. I mean, Obama's been trying to get stuff done, but it's been no cooperation at all,
No cooperation at all. No cooperation at all.
And that's why I look hopeful for when the next president comes in, because they're not electing the Supreme Judge person yet, the Supreme Court judge person yet. Because the last time we finally got the budget fixed, the debt solved, kind of, with Bill Clinton, it's because they were working together, the Supreme Court and the president. So if there's going to be two people of the same party in, doesn't matter if you're a Republican, doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, you're working together. But then, so the future of America, we're kind of worried. Are we going to be a Republican nation? Are we going to be a Democratic nation? Are we going to be a communist nation? Are we going to be a socialist nation? Are we supposed to be a capitalist nation? Are we just supposed to be a nation? Are we supposed to divide up? Everyone's going crazy, and sometimes it's actually good to get opinions of other nations about this whole subject. I mean, it's our own business, but you know what? Like they say, it's always good to get foreign advice from others. So let's see what this Chinese cat has to say about the future of America. Chinese cat.
Why, you're a cat.
A Cheshire cat. All a mimosy. Oh, what a water goes.
Oh, wait. Don't go, please.
Very well. Very good.
Oh, no. Thank you, but I just wanted to ask you which way I ought to go.
Well, that depends on where you want to get to.
Oh, it really doesn't matter. As long as I can...
Then it really doesn't matter which way you go.
That's kind of the attitude nowadays. People really don't care about America anymore. They don't care that it's going to be a socialistic welfare nation because they have to live by today. They have to get their work done. They don't care that it might be a capitalistic regime where people, the top 1%, take over and the middle class might get turned into just the smaller class, because there's still options. People can still build themselves up. But if you become a socialist kind of regime, it kind of freezes everything and no one can move up. So people are just living their lives day by day, and they don't really have time to care, or even to think, or even care about this issue. So, yeah, things are going crazy. This is why you see maybe Donald Trump as becoming a candidate. It has something a little bit more to do with that. Let's talk about some of the people backlashing against Trump, because people have been backlashing against Trump, and this has become a huge issue. Never before in history have Republicans gone out of their way to try and get somebody out of their party. It's madness. We have the former two almost presidential candidates saying, this guy does not represent us, get him out of the party. So here we go with Mitt Romney talking about Donald Trump not really being a smart person. If you don't think, don't say anything.
This is the year to trace your ancestral roots to Ireland. Or you could visit your Irish brother in Boston and save up to 60% on your hotel hot wire. Yeah, do that.
If we Republicans choose Donald Trump as our nominee,
But that's the point. You don't think you should
prospects for a
talk.
safe and prosperous future are greatly diminished. If Donald Trump's plans were ever implemented, the country would sink into prolonged recession. Isn't he a huge business success? Doesn't he know what he's talking about? No, he isn't.
And no, he doesn't. A business genius, he is not. Mr. Trump's bombast is already alarming our allies. Let ISIS take out Assad, he said, and then we can pick up the remnants. This recklessness is recklessness in the extreme. Now, Donald Trump tells us that he is very, very smart. I'm afraid that when it comes to foreign policy, he is very, very not smart. Donald Trump lacks the temperament to be president. After all, this is an individual who mocked a disabled reporter. Donald Trump says he admires Vladimir Putin. At the same time, he's called George W. Bush a liar. That is a twisted example of evil trumping good. There's a dark irony in his boasts of his sexual exploits during the Vietnam War, while at the same time, John McCain, whom he has mocked, was imprisoned and tortured. Dishonesty is Donald Trump's hallmark. His imagination must not be married to real power. Think of Donald Trump's personal qualities: the bullying, the greed, the showing off, the misogyny, the absurd third-grade theatrics. Now, Mr. Trump relishes any poll that reflects what he thinks of himself. But polls are also saying that he will lose to Hillary Clinton. Of course, a Trump nomination enables her victory. There's plenty of evidence that Mr. Trump is a con man, a fake. Mr. Trump has changed his positions not just over the years, but over the course of the campaign. And on the Ku Klux Klan daily for 3 days in a row. I predict that there are more bombshells in his tax returns. I predict that he told the New York Times that his immigration talk is just that, talk. He has too much to hide. Mr. Trump is directing our anger for less than noble purposes. He creates scapegoats of Muslims and Mexican immigrants. This is the very brand of anger that has led other nations into the abyss. Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. His promises are as worthless as a degree from Trump University. This is a time for choosing. He has neither the temperament nor the judgment to be president. His personal qualities would mean that America would cease to be a shining city on a hill.
Now, I heard, and I saw just a little bit of it, but I heard that Mitt Romney made a fairly long speech. And I mean, honestly, I thought I'll just address it quickly because it's irrelevant. Look, Mitt is a failed candidate. He failed. He failed horribly. The third debate.
Donald Trump is a bully, but what Mitt Romney was failing to understand, the people who are voting for Trump are not voting for him because he's a racist. You're seeing memes out there like, who is voting for Trump? It's not because he's a misogynist. It's not because he's a racist. They're voting for Trump because he's unconventional. They're sick of the way things have been running, the established order for Republicans, the established order for Democrats. We feel like we can't elect our own people anymore, that it's all rigged. We want to see if our votes actually matter. If we can elect this guy, Trump, to be president, we can elect anyone to be president. Just like in the days when they tried to elect the actor Ronald Reagan. We want to see if our voice still matters. That's the whole reason people are voting for Trump. It's not because he's Trump. It's because we want to see if our voice can be heard, if we can still make change. Because right now, it just feels like it's whole rigged, how all the candidates seem the same. So please think about that the next time you're seeing Trump saying something ridiculously horrible about ISIS or Muslims or immigrants or mocking a disabled person. People aren't voting for him because he's Trump. They're voting for him because we're just sick of all this political correctness that, people are... We want unconventionality. We want something like Wonderland, I guess. We want to see change, but we don't want it to be fundamentally changed from the root down the way people have been doing it, like Obama. Some people want change. Some people want it to stay the way it is. I'd say the 1% likes it pretty much damn well the way it is right now, but whatever. Let's see what another person had to say. Okay, this is the current president talking
C-SPAN
about
networks bring you
Donald
long-form
Trump.
public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
I'll leave it to you to speculate on how this whole race is going to go. I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president. And the reason is because I have a lot of faith in the American people. And I think they recognize that being president is a serious job. It's not hosting a talk show or a reality show. It's not promotion. It's not marketing. It's hard. And a lot of people count on us getting it right. And it's not a matter of pandering and doing whatever will get you in the news on a given day. And sometimes it requires you making hard decisions even when people don't like it.
President isn't the only one. We even got the Pope asking, is Donald Trump a Christian?
So your grandma wants you to visit.
That's right. I mean, now we had a former presidential candidate, the actual president, and the Pope talking about this guy.
If you don't go.
I mean, before you could say presidential candidates were the Antichrist, but looking at Trump and some of the stuff he said, on paper, this guy could be the most likely possible candidate for the Antichrist ever, especially for the Pope going out to say maybe this guy isn't a Christian, you know?
Ma grazie a Dio che ha detto che io sono politico, perché Aristotele define la persona umana.
Thank God he said I was a politician. So at least I am a human person. As to whether I'm a pawn, well, maybe, I don't know. I leave it up to the judgment of the people. And then a person who thinks only about building walls, wherever they may be, and not building bridges, is not Christian. The Pope, man. He got deaded by the Pope.
For a religious leader to question a person's faith is disgraceful. If and when the Vatican is attacked by ISIS, which, as everyone knows, is ISIS's ultimate trophy, I can promise you that the Pope would have only wished and prayed that Donald Trump would have been president. The Pope is being told that Donald Trump is not a nice person, okay? Donald Trump is a very nice person, and I'm a very good Christian. The Pope said something to the effect that maybe Donald Trump isn't Christian, okay? And he's questioning my faith. I was very surprised to see it, but I am a Christian, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be a Christian, and as president, I will not allow Christianity to be consistently attacked and weakened. No leader, especially a religious leader, should have the right to question another man's religion or faith.
Trump's reaction to the Pope. Dang, man, things are going cray-cray in the X-Gray. Let's take a few seconds to talk about the other caucus, caucus candidates. I didn't want to open it in iTunes. Well, whatever. Now, I mean, Ted Cruz is giving Trump a run for his money. But, I could talk about Ted Cruz all I want, but I just can't stop thinking about him without thinking about Looney Tunes. I guess it's because of Tex Avery or something. The name sounds similar. I mean, then there's also Marco Rubio. But, my last radio show was about Pokemon, so enough with Omega Rubio. I think Rubio and Kasich, it's hard to say his name, are only running at this point to mess up the other two candidates. That's what I would do. I mean, they're saying they're saying that they're running because they want to stop Trump, but also it works the other way. They're also taking candidates away from Ted Cruz as well as Trump. So they're running to take candidates away from Donald Trump at this point because they realize they can't win. But it's working also the other way. They're taking candidates away from Ted Cruz. So they might actually be working for Donald Trump then to get him more votes. Taking votes away from Ted Cruz. So yeah. No one can fix the country without a caucus race and becoming president. That's how things get done. But here you say, Alice say it can't be done this way. I had this particular fan out there who is, just in love with Bernie Sanders.
Hello? Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes.
So let's find out what Bernie Sanders is really all about. First off, he's a Democrat, so if you want Bernie Sanders, it's gonna have to be we have to take out Hillary once and for all.
Here's the simple truth.
We got to take out Hillary.
In America, we have millions and millions of working people who are working hard but are not making enough money to put bread on the table or to take care of their kids, and that has got to end.
Today, all over America, you got mom working, you got dad working, occasionally you have the kids working, and we still don't have enough money to pay the bills. Something is fundamentally wrong about that. The problems we face did not come down from the heavens. They are made by bad human decisions. And good human decisions can change them. It is time that the United States of America join the rest of the industrialized world and guaranteed health care to all people as a right, not a privilege. Given the incredible wealth and income inequality in America today, we need fair elections, which means public funding of elections. My Republican friends just decided to put another $38 billion into the military. Maybe we can cut military spending a little bit and put it into education. 100 years ago, women didn't even have the right to vote. Change takes place because people struggle. Within the next month, I will introduce legislation that will make every public college and public university tuition free.
But I am just listening to all the stuff Bernie Sanders is promising, and honestly, I think he's promising more than he can deliver. I don't think this can be done. You can see he's passionate about it, but I don't know if he can do it. The reason things can't be done today, it's because really, there's no cooperation. I can't put it any simpler.
No cooperation at all.
Republicans don't want any Democratic policies. Democrats don't want any Republican policies. And so, yeah, that's why no laws get passed. That's why that's why everybody's always fighting. That's why nothing gets done. One more little bit of insanity with Donald Trump that might make you be going like, what the hell? He clearly set war on ISIS. I mean, guess that's good, but think about it. This is the guy who might be president, and he's saying stuff like this.
About ISIS. You said nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
Nobody.
Specifically, what would be your strategy?
The situation with ISIS has to be dealt firmly and strongly. When you have people being beheaded, I would love not to be over there. That's not our fight. That's other people's fights. That's revolutions. That's whatever you want to call it. It's religious wars. I would do things that would be so tough that I don't even know if they'd be around to come to the table.
What sort of things, though?
I would take away their wealth. I would take away the oil. What you should be doing now is taking away the oil.
What does that mean?
Bomb the hell. And I'll tell you what I hate about this question. If I win, I didn't want to answer this question, and I thought maybe I could go without answering. Because if you look at the great General George Patton or General MacArthur, who I was a big fan of, or any of these great generals, they didn't talk about what they did. And I said, I hate it. In fact, if you remember when I said I have a plan, but I don't want to talk about it, the problem is everyone said, oh, he really doesn't have a plan. Okay, so I had to do it. But I hate talking about it, because if I win, they know I'm going to do it.
What's the
If I win,
plan?
I'm going to attack those oil sites that are controlled and owned by They're controlled by ISIS. They're taking tremendous money out. They are renovating a hotel in Iraq. Can you believe it?
Would you be destroying the wealth of Iraq?
No, there is no Iraq. There is no Iraq. Their leaders are corrupt. Excuse me, there are no Iraqis. They're broken up into so many different factions in Iraq.
You don't think bombing Iraqi oil fields, which are now in the control of ISIS, but bombing Iraqi oil fields is going to anger huge numbers of people?
I would
throughout
bomb
Iraq?
the hell out of those oil fields. I wouldn't send many troops because you won't need them by the time I got finished. I'd bomb the hell out of the oil fields. I'd then get Exxon. I'd then get these great oil companies to go in. They would rebuild them so fast your head will spin.
But you have to have US troops?
Excuse me. You ever see how fast they put up rigs? These guys are unbelievable. So I'd go ExxonMobil. I'd go to the top 5 oil companies. They'd be in there. They'd be finished so fast.
But you need US troops to protect the oil companies?
Yes. You put a ring around them. You put a ring. You've just taken all of the wealth away. This is what should be done. But no politician's going to do that.
But then you would have to bring in troops anyway. Ugh. I think Glenn Beck said it best. I was debating whether or not to play it, but you know what? Glenn Beck said it, so I'm going to play it. Glenn Beck said he would stab Donald Trump. I'm not lying. I don't know how these people are on there. Like, they're debating with this guy. If you think this guy's the Antichrist, you would probably stab him too.
I'm Fabian Calvo. This next headline, certainly a shocker, but hey, it's coming from Glenn Beck's mouth. He has now declared that he will repeatedly stab Donald Trump, or at least that's his wish. Kristen Taylor for the Gateway Pundit reports that radio host and new media mogul Glenn Beck, who has endorsed and campaigned and lied for the Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz, said on his nationally syndicated radio show on Friday morning that if he had a knife and got close enough to Cruz's leading rival Donald Trump, the stabbing wouldn't stop. That doesn't sound like a very Christian thing to do, Glenn. You know, like
He's
just a couple weeks ago, you were telling everybody to go and fast and pray and pray for Ted Cruz. And now you're saying you want to stab Donald Trump? I mean, man, what's wrong with you, man? You're out to lunch. You're crazy. Crazy. Anyway, Beck made the death threat in the context of talking about Thursday's GOP presidential debate where the candidates were asked if they would support the eventual nominee. Now, Christian Datek for the Daily Caller, who originally broke this.
Now, one thing about Glenn Beck saying this that is a little bit off base, Glenn Beck has followers. Glenn Beck has fans like me that are a little bit off the edge. I mean, him just saying that he would do that might get some of his viewers to go you know what, he's right. We gotta take out Trump before he takes us out. So, Beck saying this might not have been the smartest thing at the time. I get what he's saying, but he's actually a public speaker. He's saying we should stab Trump. So yeah, that's not the best thing to say because people are going to take him literally. They're going to do it. Let me find the actual recording so you know that this isn't just fake. Glenn Beck, stab Donald Trump. Why, yahoo, why? It's got to be on Newsmax. Oh, well, here it is. Perfect video. Political red duration 30 seconds. Perfect.
Keep you comfortable when you're out
And
on
the ad is 30
town.
seconds.
With new styles and great fits, you look good for
Dun,
any
dun,
occasion.
dun.
And they're built with four-way flex technology that moves with you for all-day comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Political radio host Glenn Beck gave a rather violent
Oh,
answer
come
on
on.
Friday morning to what he would have done in the shoes of Donald Trump's opponents on the debate stage last night. Beck said on his radio program, "If I were on the stage, I would have said, 'Have you been listening to him tonight? Have you been listening to what I say about him? I believe these things.' He then went on to say, 'If I were close enough and had a knife, really, I mean, the stabbing just wouldn't stop.'"
Newsmax will have him saying it. Alright guys, I'm sorry. But there's articles out there, there's all these people claiming that Beck said it. I know we're just going on hearsay here, but I did hear it. I found a clip earlier and I heard it. Trump is a dangerous man. He's not the one trying to stop people.
Here's 2 pieces of good advice. Number 1,
Don't
ask
threaten
Geico
to
about
stab
renter's
people.
insurance. And number 2,
Don't threaten to stab people. Especially if you're in New York. You realize what's been going on with all the train rides? It is not safe.
Renter's insurance can be.
The oath of office is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's why I am for Ted Cruz. He is a constitutionalist. At 13 years old, he had memorized the Constitution and was going around the state doing this amazing memory thing on the Constitution. He was raised by a father who escaped from Cuba, actually fought for Fidel, came to America, realized the difference, became an American citizen, raised Ted on the Constitution, and so it's in his bones. And what I've warned about for so long, people only focused when I was at Fox, they only focused on what I was saying about Barack Obama. But when I was at CNN, I was saying much of the same stuff about George W. Bush, and nobody paid attention. And when I was at Fox, I warned, look, Democrats, please understand, if you let the balance of power go out of whack, the next guy who could get in could be calling himself a Republican, and he will either take that same power and either use it at the same level or expand it, and that's a very bad thing. We need a constitutional restraint on the executive branch, and Donald Trump, I really truly believe, is a very dangerous man. If you listen to Chris, some of the things he said this weekend,
dangerous why? Obviously.
I could go on at Fifth Avenue and I could shoot people and I wouldn't lose a single vote. He's joked about killing reporters like Putin. Actually, he's joked about not killing reporters like Putin does. He's a very dangerous man.
He says he's joking. He put out a tweet this weekend about you. You know what happens when you go with Trump. He is not one to take a punch passively. You obviously don't care about that, but in terms of, here he is. He's a sad answer to the Sarah Palin endorsement. It's the best Cruz could do. Glenn is a failing, crying loss. So I know you well enough to know that the personal attack isn't going to bother you, but do you think that you may be mistaking the mood of the country? Because obviously that is seen as the fuel of Trump's success thus far.
Chris, no, I'm not here to talk to you about the mood of the country. I'm here to talk to you about the Constitution and what I believe is an absolute right or wrong. We don't change with the mood of the country. That's the problem with our country right now. The Constitution is to anchor us in principles that help temper the mood of the country. The mood of the country is very angry, but you never make a good decision when you're angry. The worst thing we can do is to now start looking at, well, who's going to get revenge? One of the things that Donald Trump does, and look, you want to take a shot at me? Look at me, Chris. There's lots of jokes to be made.
Glasses.
So it doesn't bother me. But when you have a guy who is angry and then has an enemies list and starts just to take people down over and over and over again. If you disagree with him, he destroys you. If that's the mood of the country, then we're in more trouble than I thought.
Well, so that's some of Glenn Beck's views on it. There's one final thing I really, really, really want to talk about with Donald Trump. Has anyone rescued Chris Christie yet?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the next president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Free Chris Christie, hashtag it.
Chris is a dear friend, but none of us understands why he did this.
We're taking from the Democrats, we're taking from the independents. We have a lot more people. I mean, take a look.
I think he's like brainwashed by the Senate, like you know what happened with Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars. That's what happened. Chris Christie must want to be Attorney General really, really bad. Chris Christie, blink twice if you need someone to come save you.
This has been an amazing period in my life. My wife just called.
Free Chris
Ivanka,
Christie quickly became a trending hashtag.
And she's a special person, and it's going to be great.
I've made a huge mistake. What have I done? Dear God, what have I done? Christie stare. Joe Biden. Oh my God. This poor guy. I mean, he must be thinking about, oh shoot, if Trump wins, I'm gonna have to be behind this guy the entire time. For the next 4 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you. It's a mad, 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 mad world. In France, the girls wear scanties, but on lamb chops, they put panties. I'm telling you, it's a mad, 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 mad world. A Japanese named Louis says the Chinese hate chop suey. Without a doubt, it's a mad, 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 mad world. The only thing you are sure of is that nothing is sure. Have a ball! Live it up! Only fools give it up to join the
Okay, guys, this was a fun show for me. You might be asking yourself, I haven't even actually told you my, who am I gonna vote for? But honestly, I think a huge factor in this is the Supreme Court judge, because, we need cooperation. That's the reason nothing gets done. We need the Senate, we need the Congress, we need the people, we need everyone to cooperate. I think that's more of the issue than who we make the president. So yeah, that's who I'm going to vote for. Cooperation. Gonna vote for cooperation, or, same as it ever was. Thanks for watching.
By the way, if you'd really like to know, he went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
He did?
He did what?
Went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
What rabbit?
But didn't you just say, oh dear.
Can you stand on your head?